to make TBQ's life miserable. We'll get into our next draft though. The bans have started. LGD now on the blue side, of course. Ban away Siva once again. The Varus response comes once more for unlimited potential. Let's see what LGD want to take away. There's the Heck Room away from Long. I love that ban.
Yeah, it's really well deserved. Long now 5-1 on the Heck Room, has a massive win rate. We saw his beauty of being able to transition in between the lanes, soak up a lot of farm, as well as still being very present in team fights. Again, he was 3-0-3, I think, at the very beginning of the game, and it didn't feel like he was there for the team fights, especially because he was able to maintain his farm lead on Acorn for pretty much the entire of the match.
Yeah, just, you know, did what he needed to do, made sure he got farm on the Heck Room, and they got nice and massive towards the end, helped them really win those late game scenarios. Kalista is banned away there by unlimited potential. We talked about it being pretty much a must ban on the red side here against a team like LGD. Is he going to get a ban here by LGD? That's an interesting one to me. Again, we pointed out Godby does not play Azir, but Punish had, I would say, a decent game. Not an amazing game, but certainly a decent game on the champion.
I think a big issue is that because Godby doesn't play Azir and he's found his big counter pick in that Varus against it, with Varus banned, you almost need an Azir response ban because the AP Kog'Maw didn't work out for him.
No, it's just not the same sort of punishment early on. You can't keep Azir down all lane long. Just at level 6, and Godby just couldn't get enough pressure done in time. Echo is the last man here for unlimited potential, though. Again, making sure LGD don't get their hands on the champion, clearly respecting it. Bandit on the blue side in game number 1 here as well. And what LGD want to take, we've seen a lot of first pick PYL Alistars. They do have that option available if they want it.
That said, Nautilus is still open, so even if they decided to not look for the Alistar, possibly look for maybe a priority jungler, Rek'Sai, Gragas, Sejuani are all still available. Likewise, some power picks as far as the top is concerned. Ryze is open. Yep,
Ryze is open again, and Victor, actually a champion that was banned in the last game, is available now as well. You can see though, Translator quickly asking Flame to change champion, and it will be first pick Ryze.
Flame on Ryze.
Ooh. I mean, you talked about carries. Acorn's Ryze, I think, has honestly been left wanting in 2 games that we've seen it in. Even the win against EDG just didn't really show very much, and his Ryze didn't look that good in the last game there. So Flame on Ryze is definitely something that's a nice change for LGD, and if there was ever a Flame champion for Flame to finally get to play, it is something like Ryze.
I'm very excited to see if he can really put the carry on and do what Acorn failed to.
Carry team from Ryze, we'll have to see here as UP get themselves Alistar and Gragas. A very strong start to a draft. Going to really show up that duo there from the jungle and support roles. Amy going to get a nice aggressive jungler, and Hart going to get another high impact support.
I still feel like Rek'Sai is the better option for Amy. That said, not an awful Gragas player, so we'll see if this suits him a little bit better than, say, like the Sejuani and the new picks.
I find that interesting because Amy's such an aggressive jungler that I would assume he'd have Gragas priority, to be honest.
I just feel like Rek'Sai is a little bit more straightforward. And again, we talked about how Rek'Sai really empowers a certain playstyle of invading and playing aggressively just because of her Tremor radar sense. Yeah, that's TBQ picking Lee Sin.
Yeah, instead of Rek'Sai, which is available. I mean, Sejuani's even here as well. 0 junglers were banned in this draft, and TBQ decides on Lee Sin. I do like the Thresh here from PYL. Gonna pull that one out here for game number 2. But that is a really odd Lee Sin pick.
It's just his signature champion. I mean, that's frankly what it goes back to. I mean, obviously he had, again, a decent Gragas. I still feel like Rek'Sai is, as far as China is concerned, I feel like Rek'Sai should be the higher priority pick just because of how they utilize her and how aggressive they are, and again, empowering the fact that she's there for the invades. But to see him just insta-lock a Lee Sin over that isn't surprising.
I guess not here, as UP take Rumble and Corki actually for themselves here, so nice mid-game aggression coming through across the board for UP. Missing a mid laner though, they're going to give Punish the counter pick for Godby's champion, but all of a sudden, unlimited potential, looking a lot more aggressive in this draft.
Long has never won a game on Rumble, and I believe he's played 8.
That's not a good statistic.
That is a 0% win rate on a champion that he has picked a lot of times.
Well, he's going to get it one more time. We'll see if he can win this time against Flame with the big carry pants on here in Ryze, but LGD got to lock in their picks. Imp's going to take Ezreal. Godby will get the Ahri that they banned in game number 1, but Imp on Ezreal, really?
Yeah.
It's been so long since he played Ezreal, it feels like.
Before I even want to touch the Ezreal, I almost feel like Godby's having a bit of a champion pool issue. As weird as that sounds, just because he plays so many things, I kind of feel like we're seeing almost like 3 rotations. It's either Victor, Varus, and now it's Ahri. Victor, Varus, Orianna, and kind of like when those options are taken away from them, he just goes to the Ahri. That's bizarre.
It is a bit. I mean, UP clearly doing some nice homework in game 1 with the ban away from it. Master Yi, they're not going to be the champion for Punished. Instead, get a match in one of the ultimate skill matchups in mid lane. Take Zed into the Ahri.
Wow, now Zed has been changed because, again, this is 5.11, so he can't immediately get back from his shadow. That said, we've talked about the Zed versus Ahri matchup multiple times, you and I.
Yep.
And we definitely feel that it's Zed favored simply because Ahri's mobility on her ultimate really doesn't count much for Zed because obviously his death mark is just going to follow her wherever she goes. That said, since you do know where Zed is going to land on top of you, you can land the charm, but that's really what it comes down to. Ahri landing the charm or Zed blowing her up.
Yeah, we call that matchup Zed favored. It's only very slightly there for Zed, and it is a very strong skill matchup. So we'll see how the Assassins go in the mid lane. But Flame's in the top side with Rise. That's nice and exciting. Long, though, trying to answer with a different mage here with the Rumble, which you said has not won a game yet.
Are you ready for a classic 1-1 split?
Yes, I am. No more. Statistically, yes.
Personally,
no.
I feel like statistically, that's what we're about to get.
We'll have to find out. Mid lane matchup, nice and exciting. Ahri versus Zed. So nice to see Assassins back in the metagame. Here's Imp. Again, another oddball pick to me. Ezreal into Corki.
It's not terrible. I know that Kid really favors that matchup as well, just because the Mystic Shot kind of outranging the Phosphorus Bomb or being able to tag back and forth on the 280 casters. So,
just more weird for Imp as far as champion pool goes. Like, he's had a very specific style of champion. Like, he loves Tristana, he loves Graves, and he loves Kalista. Those are his big champions, and he sort of played the other ones reasonably well. Ezreal's a bit weird. I guess we'll see how it goes. We're going to get onto the Rift for game number 2. And welcome back here for LGD versus Unlimited Potential, game number 2. As we move out onto the Rift with Imp and his Ezreal pick. We haven't seen it in a while, as I said. I find it a bit odd, but he's a perfectly fine AD carry player. Imp, if he can make it work here with the vanilla Ezreal skin rocking there, despite all the great skin options. Imp does this sometimes. He just kind of picks a champion because he wants to play it. Apparently today he wants to play Ezreal.
Yeah, and Ezreal, I mean, if you think about kind of, and it's funny because Imp's Korean as I'm about to start this history point, if you think about kind of the AD carries in the LPL, they've all been really big known
Ezreal players.
Ezreal players. Did I say Ezreal players in the LPL? AD carry LPL players, they've always been known for their Ezreal. You think back to Wei Xiao and how he used to manipulate the map with the waves by using his ultimate globally to trim them and to create slow pushes across from him, which really definitely fits in the play style of LGD because they are very much a micro wave managing team with their side waves in Power of Acorn.
Well, we'll see if that works out here for him. Maybe helping Flame out with some of the gardening there in the side waves, but UP just setting out nice and safe here, making sure they've got all the major entrances covered. And by the looks of things right now, we are going to have standard lanes in this game.
Curious how this 2v2, the Alistar Corki versus the Ezreal Thresh. Now, the thing that I wanted to point out is, again, going back to my big featured matchup, which is Heart versus PYL. Thresh is one of PYL, I think it's actually his most played champion. I think he has something like 40 games on that. Heart has not looked very successful on Alistar. You want to talk about negative win ratios? He's got like a 30% win rate on that champion. So again, Long, 0% win rate on that champion. Heart, 30% win rate on Alistar. It fits in the MO of giving Alistar, or giving Heart a high impact champion that can be unlocked to roam around the map and make big plays happen, but it hasn't so far for UP.
Not just yet, but I feel like we might see more from Punished and Scaps this game. And they did play a nice game 1 here, but LGD are going to start things off with a double jungle Flame, just helping TBQ around the jungle with some camps, but you can see both top laners trying to help out, but they can already see it's a 2v2 in the bottom lane, so get into those lanes and start getting farm.
Yeah, just being really cautious that they weren't going to get swapped on. Curious that Flame doesn't get swapped on with the Rise. We'll see if there's high priority gank pressure there, because typically you need to put him down. You can't just give him a free pass through his lane phase. Just start stacking his items.
Well, Flame fans unite. He's finally getting in a 1v1 lane with a carry style champion. If anybody's really going to abuse someone in a 1v1 matchup, like something like Rise versus Rumble, it's going to be a player like Flame. So very cool to see him sort of back in his very old element at this point.
And speaking of getting abused, just the threat pressure that Imp and PYL had on the bottom side, hitting that level 2 first, Imp standing on the back of the caster creeps and threatening with his Mystic Shot.
Yeah, and that's something we see so often, I feel like, in bottom lane, threatening the level 2 all-in. You don't get many actual all-ins anymore, but you want to make sure you get that level 2 first. So a nice Krug start from LGD going to help them enable that.
Long being very cautious, warning to make sure that TBQ isn't in the area. Again, expect him to be camping up that top side, want to get that Flame Rise rolling.
They do indeed, as Hook does land onto Heart. Imp, they're coming for a bit of extra poke. Nice play there from PYL as well. We talked a bit more about this as well, PYL, and it don't lane together that often. The team does slant up quite a bit, but it's nice to see them laning a bit more. And from what we saw yesterday, they are still a very strong duo also. The
other thing that I really like to point out, the the Corki versus Ezreal matchup is Corki so much of his burst damage. Hold on though, Gragas.
Yeah, Kai's going to try and make a difference, but Pulverize in. Imp going to try and start the trade. Pulverize doesn't go in. Body Slam will miss as well. Amy exhaust down there, plus the Body Slam. PYL getting low. Got no summoners left here. Will go down to Amy for first blood, but Imp's going to not get the answer. Good headbutt back there from Hart. And a last-second heal from Sketch to save his jungler.
Great gank from Amy right there to come from very far behind. That said, TBQ sees the map pressure on the opposite side of the map, immediately looks top, but long spots him out with a nicely placed ward.
There's a ping there down onto that brush. Flame saying, hey, sorry, mate. This one's warded, can't come here right now, but Flame at least keeping even in CS with the Rise. And this is what we didn't get from Acorn. A nice smooth curve with that farm and getting those scaling items early.
The thing that I was just about to talk about is the Ezreal versus Corki matchup. It's I really like it because Corki's so reliant on hitting that phosphorus bomb to make a successful trade, especially when he itemizes into a Sheen and he wants to get that instant proc. But it's so easy for Ezreal to trade effectively against it because he can E to the side, get the free auto with the E reset, and then dodge the phosphorus bomb damage.
Yeah, we see this a lot in the Lucian Corki matchup, actually, which was the one we saw a lot of, and even a bit of Callista Corki back when those champions are popular. Corki has sort of made his way back, it feels like. He's sort of a, let's say, a niche counter pick now, as far as AD carries go. Still very strong, very mid-game oriented. But there's kind of a reason he dropped off a little bit in play, at least from last season.
His mixed damage, that is fantastic, especially with the rise of the Abyssal Scepter as far as the mid-miners are concerned. Obviously, as Zed this time.
Trouble, headbutt, Pulverize combo in there, no flash again. Good three-man play, but a Valkyrie fire from Scat's going to give himself the kill. And camping the bottom lane is Amy, very effective.
Wow. Just so good to foresee that PYL was on his back because he had been sent, so obviously he's going to go looking for ward positions and just setting up a trap in the river like that.
Amy actually trying to force TBQ off. This does smite it away. So that's Scuttlecrab not going to be taken out by Lee Sin. A bit more farming happening for TBQ, but going with the Cinderhawk Lee Sin, he's more about the farming than about the really high-pressure jungling this time.
And that's actually really huge. Amy taking away that Scuttlecrab just because so much attention is being spent on the bottom side. If TBQ had gotten that, it would have given a little bit more security to PYL and Imp down there, especially because PYL doesn't have his flash.
Would have indeed, but instead, we'll have a look at the mid lane now with Godby and Punish to both hit level 6, so Fireworks potentially can start here in the mid lane, but Charm there does miss. Good juke there from Punish, and they're just sort of trading farm back and forth. Double Doran's amped home there for Ari, probably looking for a Seeker's Arm Guard, and a build toward a Cutlass already done for Punish.
And that's really kind of been the fall off for Zed. Not only the rise of the Cinderhulk meta really edging out the Assassins, but the fact that it's so easy to itemize against Zed in the mid lane, having that Zanya's rush.
I feel like the fact that there's a rise in this game sort of justifies the pick a bit more though, and UP are a team that can team fight with this sort of assassin as well.
Likewise, anytime Zed is in a composition, it opens up a 1-3-1 split push, especially when he has that Blade of the Rune King online.
We'll see if Punish does want to opt into that, as Amy getting tracked by Godby, forced to E himself over to the Dragon Pit. The Scuttlecrab's there to speed him up. And Hart also running defense there towards his jungler means that Godby will not look at a pick this time, but I like that he's being at least proactive for the mid lane, something very different to the Kog'Maw he played last game.
Amy spending so much time onto the bottom side. I like the fact that LGD is playing a little bit more defensively, trying to figure out, find vision on him and make sure that he can't continually get the jump on Imp and PYL on the bot side, but has already left his mark, so see if he can continue to snowball this one.
And I think as a result, he's still in the top lane. Farm a little bit ahead there for Flame. He's having a very comfy time on the rise. Now got the tier and stacking it up here. Long does have a blasting wand actually, which might mean a very fast Abyssal Scepter to sort of challenge this lane and help him there. But I mean, Flame's having a good time. Even if Imp's maybe not having the best time, PYL especially looking a bit silly with 2 deaths there. But if Flame's farming, that's probably good farm priority from LGD.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate too because so many resources are being expended bottom to try to snowball there, whereas Flame is doing things that Flame does, which is out-farm his opponent.
Yeah, not a massive CS discrepancy just yet, but we'll see how that develops. Flame was once upon a time known for like really disgusting CS discrepancies, like 50 plus.
Well, he's certainly starting to edge that one out.
Yeah, looking good so far. Here on the rise again, nice to see Flame on a bit more of a carry style champion. You can see maxing that W looking good to go, but the game's been pretty quiet so far. The 2 kills is only 500 gold ahead for UP. No major objectives being contested for just yet, but 8.5 minutes in, things kind of going as expected.
The big win condition for UP is obviously they have a dragon fight oriented composition, obviously anytime Rumble's there, as well as their mid-game power spike. So obviously when Sketch has that Trinity Force available to him, it'll time nicely with the Rumble level 9 and 11.
Great all-in though from UP. Catch onto Imp with the combo, and Sketch just charges in with the Valkyrie for the damage. So unlimited potential, even without Amy now, just from the lead they have, trying to continue snowballing the bottom wave. And Imp's force back here. Tower is going to stay relatively safe, but that does open up space in the bottom side.
See how quickly Sketch can itemize his Trinity Force, because again, just kind of covering their item power spikes, it's very clear where UP want to run with their composition. The Blade of the Ruined King for Punish in the mid lane. Long is on a level dependent champion as opposed to an item dependent champion, so level 9 and level 11 for Rumble when he has his ultimates available to him, as well as 5 points in his Flame Spitter. And then the Trinity Force for Corki.
Yep, so we'll see what the mid-game, we've sort of touched on it in the draft. Very aggressive comp put together here for UP, where some decent scaling and just a lot going on here for LGD in general. I mean, an Assassin and Ezreal, which might be blue, although just starting with the mana unit doesn't mean we go straight into Gauntlet, but it does have a bit of flexibility there. And Flame especially, he's the big carry in this game for me. He just needs to get massive on Rise.
We do have a bit of a roam coming out here from Godby, however, but Heart snuck into the back of the lane.
I like this a lot here. Long is level 8, got the ulti ready to go. Gragas also coming into the top side. They're going to leave Sketch in the bottom half on his own for now. Doesn't quite have the team finish, but does have that phage already on the Corki.
More importantly, he also has level 6, so he can farm from afar.
Yep, nice and safe there with the missiles. Godby getting the blue buff though. Guard completed now as well, means he's feeling fairly comfortable. But this is a big dive being set up onto Flame with Heart still sneaky in the top side.
There he goes, starting to move behind. You have a ton of pressure being applied.
Ulti pop there for Flame. Exhaust is down. Heart, big creep block there. Good equalizer down, but it's not quite enough, and UP might have to be content with a push as Punish goes down. Caught in transition by Lee Sin and Ari.
And that's the thing that I wanted to point out, although TBQ looking for more here.
Long flushes in, Q will land. TBQ going to chase his way in.
Wow.
Kick lands in, Godby with the trump. Long now caught out of position. Flame spitted down, that was alive for a little while longer, but Flame comes back. Picks himself up, a kill maybe. Denied.
Tried to give it to Flame because obviously he had just bit the, I was going to say bit the dust, but that just sounded awkward. He had died, he died top lane, so they're just trying to give it to him. That said, isn't able to pick it up, so Godby takes it for free.
Didn't die either. He actually escaped that gank, just had to use a bunch of resources, so didn't get that kill. LGD actually got the mid lane turret in and amongst all the chaos, and 1,000 gold ahead now for LGD. A big move there for UP to try and kill Flame. It amounts to nothing but advantages for LGD.
A big issue was that Punish was trying to apply a ton of pressure into the mid lane to keep Godby in that lane, so he couldn't rotate up to help Flame. But applying that much pressure, TBQ just immediately turned on him.
Yeah, and that was just a great catch there from LGD to make sure that they take out the Zed here. Blue buff is going to go over, possibly to Sketch, maybe over the Zed. Both fine targets here, and looks like Punish will swoop in to collect it for himself. They're missing that Q. Going to be a bit awkward there. Hard being a nice go though, support, tanking it up for his mid laner. But other than that, UP seemed like they had things going in the bottom lane. I like the move to the top lane to try and keep the Rise down, but that went a little bit pear-shaped, and all of a sudden LGD, they can kind of sit back and relax for a couple more minutes.
I feel like it was a bit too little too late. You need to get the early ganks on Rise before you can start itemizing, getting enough points of those abilities, because it's still very scary to dive a Rise at this point in the game because he has that snare now. They did force a lot of pressure, but here we go. This is the catch on Punish, so was trying to make his way up, but more importantly, he's really just trying to keep Godby in the mid lane so he can't go and help Flame out, but didn't realize that Lee Sin was also going to be there.
Yeah, so pop his ulti, Godby was able to turn around with the damage. Punish didn't have enough to kill him, and that was an easy pickup. It's in the top side, Long now going to get aggressive. Godby's here again, Flame gets that kill. So a nice pickup there for the Rise. And unlimited potential, great early game in game 1, sort of falling apart here in 12 minutes into game 2.
And a big thing was the fact that LG taking the mid lane off of their last big team fight victory. Punished isn't able to apply enough pressure to keep Godby from roaming. They will pick up the dragon in response to so many resources going top lane, as well as that bottom tier tower. But LGD, you know, they made it out of kind of their shaky early game, and they're starting to really run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about trading gold objectives for dragon. They actually, a gold objective will go to UP, so going to keep things relatively even in the bottom half of the map. That really is where a lot of their strength lies. But LGD have sort of weathered the first part of the storm. I feel like the next part's due to come though, with Blade of the Ruined King on the way for Punished, Abyssal completed for Rumble, and Trinity Force almost done as well. Punished Going to come in on top of Imp, but he'll land his way to safety. Does that back onto PYL. TBQ going to join in as well. Q does land. Lungs here as well, gets grabbed up though. Amy with a great ulti, gets PYL and TBQ back into the team. That's going to be 2 clean kills for UP.
And this is where UP are strong. You pointed out the fact that, you know, their ultimates are coming online. They're finally finding their power spikes. The mid game is going to be the big turning point for them. So starting to creep back into it and run and find their snowball to run away. LGD, though, they have so many tools. I like to call it the baton or the mid-bridge composition. So you've got Ari for kind of that mid-game power spike as well as the Trinity Force, except Ezreal's going kind of a wonky build right there, but typically a mid-game power spike. We'll see where Imp ends with those itemization. I think he's going for a Blade of the Rune King, a purple Ezreal build, so should probably see a BT kind of later down the road. But it's a mid-bridge for Flame, that rise to take over into the late game. So if LGD just can weather the storm, as UP are going to be making their moves for the next 5 to 10 minutes, then they should be able to win this one out in late game.
Yeah, and we've seen that from Godby, who's 1-0-2 right now, roaming nicely. PYL grabs Heart, Flame damage, but ulti pop by Heart. And all of a sudden, Flame's like, yep, don't want to be here.
Look at how strong they are, though. Trinity Force, Blade of the Rune King, all completed on that back.
Yeah, and you can see Punish going down to the bottom side. He'll challenge Imp. Scatch will stay in the mid lane, trying to keep Godby back and take out another turret. And we talked about UP's mid game. They've hit it right now. They are quite strong at this stage of the game. So it's all a matter of execution. The gold lead is dead even between the two teams here. Objective's fairly close as well. UP need to make a difference now.
And I talked about the Abyssal Scepter before and how it's a very popular itemization onto the mid lane. This time around, Long is picking it up on the Rumble, and this is part of the reason why Corki's really started to swing back into the meta. There is so much mixed damage, specifically magic damage on this team. You've got Gragas, Corki, and Rumble, as well as Alistar is going to be doing magic damage on his abilities, and the Abyssal Scepter is an aura empowering his team.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, you know, it's not much, but it all adds up, and if it's just going to be basically free stats for the rest of your team anyway, why not build what's already a calculated plan?
I have a feeling, I'm curious if he's going to go Sork Boots, or if he's going to pick up the Mercury Treads, just because he's dealing across from a lot of CC, and likewise the Abyssal Scepter, the penetration on it will help compensate for the lack of Sork Shoes if he decides to go Merc Treads.
See what Long wants to do there is Flame still happily farming, actually 20 CS lead with the tier going through. Rodovade is not there just yet, might have enough money to go buy it outright with that Sapphire Crystal starting things off, so we'll have to see there. Flame will keep a close eye on him as he goes back to shop, denied by Long, or we'll have to wait a little while longer. Because if he does have enough money for all, he's kind of hitting the last point we can reasonably expect to get the item and still have it charged up nicely.
Still starting to hit his CS discrepancy. That said, LGD really on the pressure right now, and UP just giving away free objectives.
Yeah, they're hoping Punish gets a trade in the bottom side. Godby did a lot of work beforehand when UP committed to the bottom half, pushing into the mid lane tier 2 and getting damage down. Punish, you can see though, hasn't done enough work on this tower. Flame's going to come down to challenge him as well. Hook does go wide. UP might look for a fight here, but LGD is sort of, again, doing what they do best in when they're trying to bridge to someone big. Run people around the map.
No, I'm glad that you really pointed out, because you're exactly right. They're a macro-oriented team, and obviously we talk about this all the time. You know, with the addition of Imp, Acorn, and Flame, they kind of married their strategy to mechanics, but they've always been a rotation-based team, kind of running people around as opposed to brute forcing things down.
See, Unlimited Potential haven't quite got themselves the next little objective for themselves. It's 2-1 up in turrets for LGD. Dragon is theirs, but the next one will be up in a minute 55. We'll see if they want to go for that one. But honestly, they just want to get the Cook into lane to start pushing down towers. And Godby might have found a few too many. Good flash pulverize there from Hard Exhaust down as well. Mass amount of CC will just keep Godby alive. Equalizer dodged as well. Well played, Ari. Well played.
That was so insanely good. Hold on, though. Punish finds TBQ.
Trying to recall, now getting caught out by TBQ. Flay there will get dodged by the Death Monk. Kicked out of it, though. Q will miss. Punish pops back to his shadow. PYO going to get aggressed on, but will not fall. And Flame's going to get that kill.
Pops back to the shadow to dodge the Death Mark. Isn't enough because he's in melee range of Rise and quickly mops that one up. I want to talk about that top lane because that was almost so beautifully played between Amy and Hart there by chaining the CC and pretty much keeping Ari immobile for up to 3 to 4 seconds. But wow, using the flash in the last tick of his ultimate to get away.
Yeah, didn't have much left there to Godby, but enough to get away. Unlimited Potential did get the top lane turret, so they do have that to at least hang their hat on, but it's been a very chaotic early game, and LGD, honestly, have been the benefactors of most of that, as Imp and his crazy Blade of the Ruin King build might just be done on the Blade part.
The thing is, last game, we talked about how UP, they kind of fumbled their mid-game macro shot calling, not being as efficient as they could have been with their leads, and now they're playing a very mid-game oriented oriented composition. They need to strike now, and they're trying to be proactive on map. And yes, they didn't kill Godfrey, but they did get the tower that they came up there for. So kind of a really big shift of gears as they're trying something new.
And I think Flame might be the big thing that UP look over to and think, oh man, really don't want him to get any more farm. He's already got 140 CS. He's got his Rod of Ages, albeit a little late, but he's been stacking up the tiers pretty much all game long. His Merc Druids are completed. Flame is not far from having those 2 items, and he's not stopping. He is still farming at almost every possible point.
Yeah. Again, the mid-bridge composition, handing off the baton to Flame in the late game. LGD, they just have to survive this storm, and they're setting up to fight for this dragon, but I feel like they should just give it away, especially as Flame is across map. Does have his TP available, however.
UP fends themselves a fight. Long is level 11, so going to be a bit easier to fight that dragon here. Punished in the bottom as well. Kind of at least put some pressure down onto the bottom lane tier 2. And limited potential. Not starting the dragon just yet, but LGD just buying time for Flame now.
Kind of a wonky play. Yeah, they're buying time for Flame just to get free damage, but they also had a big wave into the mid lane. I feel like they could have played with that pressure point and tried to catch UP on a rotation back to their mid lane. Because fighting this dragon, again, I still feel is really risky, but look at the respect that UP are giving them as they send Punish down to the bottom side. Yeah,
they leashed the dragon pretty much as far out as it can go, and then had to give it up and it reset. To be fair, it would have reset anyway on its own, but just not interested in Flame. Just gets a free turret as a result. UP taking too long in this mid-game.
Split push rise is a thing.
I mean, it is sort of now. It didn't used to be because of all the mana scaling, but you're getting a little bit more AP now in your Rise builds.
That was sarcasm, by the way.
I know.
No, I feel
just wanted to make sure everyone knew that
yeah,
it's not as awful as it used to be.
UP, though, again, fumbling their mid-game shot calling. Here comes the teleport, though.
Yeah, Flame's ready to go. Godby has started the dragon off with the rest of his team. Unlimited potential, looking for a way in here, but LGD keeping the dragon on their side. They've got decent zoning tools. Godby especially positioned aggressively.
Oh, nice
good
equalizer
to cut them off. Dragon will go to unlimited potential. Losing a turret, not ideal, but they do get dragon number 2.
And LGD couldn't have fought that from the beginning. Again, we talk about the power spikes that UP are on as far as their itemization right now. Ahri doesn't have, she's got enough Fiends, but that's not going to save her against the Zed. She doesn't have the Hourglass, so I just feel like that was really wonky from both teams. And now UP, again, out of position as LGD are marching up mid lane, but swinging to their top lane wave building.
Yeah, I mean, Flame's been doing a lot of work on the top lane. They thought they could maybe fight with Flame coming down from the top lane.
Neither of these teams have any idea what they're doing right now. They're so scattered.
I mean, yeah, recalling now as Punish hits himself on the bottom half of the map, but not committing to the top wave. Gives that a turret here. Now equal up as far as the turrets go. Gold very close as well. I agree. The game's been a little bit...
LGD, they were trying to stall at the dragon because obviously they wanted the top tier tower, but they could have really played around with their mid lane pressure. They missed that opportunity. They lose the dragon because of a well-placed equalizer from Long. That said, UP looked to be out of position as LGD were making rotations around mid and top lane, but Punished saved them by stepping into the bush and hiding in Fog of War, and then appearing at the last second as soon as he knew where LG had committed and takes the free bottom tier tower. So good recovery from UP's mid laner.
And we've seen this before. Punish, and Zed in general is the one you can get going in a side lane and try and split push as another way to get yourself to a game victory. Flame will eventually be able to challenge the Zed Ahri as well if she does get going. Maybe with the zonies and one other item being completed depending on how the rest of that shakes out here. But that's a little while up here. And Punish right now is very strong if he wants to split push. And he is committing. He is already in the top lane looking for another tower.
And I know it's not a massive champion for him. He's only played Twisted Fate 4 times. I believe he's 3-1 on the champion. But he's found a ton of success on it, especially in the recent LPL split. And you think about, you know, what does TF also bring to his team? It's pick potential and it's tower pushing potential. And he gets a lot of that with Zed as well. So yeah, the champions are very different, but as far as how they play around the map and what they want to do for their teams, very similar.
Yeah, strategically similar, absolutely here is LGD looking to pressure more turrets, but it's a long way to the inhibitor turret there in the mid as Imp instead will set themselves with a counter drone. I feel like this game is almost impossible to track as far as map movement goes because it has been all over the shop, and honestly the number of wards on the map, or maybe the lack of wards on the map, kind of is a testament to that.
I mean, LGD they know that they can't fight right now, which is why they didn't fight over the dragon. They're just trying to run UP around until Flame gets his big power spike.
I mean, Flame's getting there, but he's not grouped with his team. As Punished again, off on the tier 2 turret. Not quite Twisted Fate, but he'll get a decent split push job joining on Zed, but UP gonna give up their inhibitor turret here, get completely out-rotated. As Long comes down, he puts down a beautiful equalizer but LGD going to finish off and break the base. The tier 2's down, but LGD are going to get an inhibitor now. And Zed, the other difference, unlike Twisted Fate, he does not have a global reposition.
And again, it comes down to the lack of vision that UP had. They just couldn't see LGD. They hid in that top rush right underneath the base gate. Waited for the... Oh, hold on.
Yeah, they found Hart. PWL pops the box down hard. Forced to use his ulti flame around the side. Finds Scats. They do get the kill. LGD not going to look for Hart again. Great hook. This time, no ulti for Alistar. Going to give PYL the kill. Punished is still pushing, but he died to the turret.
Hello? Team, please respond. Okay. So we talked about how LGD, they're not on their power spike, so it's a little bit risky for them to fight. Yes, they've completed big pickups in their itemization, but the reason they chose to fight there is because they saw Punish obviously dying to the base laser, knowing it was a 4v5. So not only do they get the inhibitor as well as the one team fight, they now turn into the Baron and lose nothing for it.
Good grab there. Godby going to find Amy, take him out, pop back over the wall, and LGD going to have enough to finish off this Baron. All of a sudden, it took a couple of weird things to happen, but nice shot calling in a very stressful situation gives LGD the Baron and the lead.
LGD were kind of twisting around with different pressure points on the map. Eventually something stuck. Again, it was really the fact that they hid on that, I'm going to call it the little slight banana brush underneath the base gate there. Waited until they saw every member of UP appear on either wards or in the lanes themselves before committing to that mid lane push, and UP completely caught off guard.
Just not sure about Punish there.
But with this Baron, it's so... This Baron pretty much guarantees LGD at least a foot into that start of the late game, or what I'm going to call the Rise power spike. Because obviously for the next 4 minutes during the duration of the Baron buff, UP can't push on them. They can try to look for picks and things like that and try to play around with pressure points by pushing waves and forcing LGD to respond to them. But they can't fight. And this is where UP are strong. They've been strong for the last, 5 to 10 minutes, and their window of opportunity to win this game is very quickly shutting.
It is. It might have shot almost. We'll have to see just how strong Flame gets here. PYL aggressively looking for picks. Will miss Hart that time. TBQ though, smites long there. Mini's into the wall with the kick hard. Trying to re-engage. Godby though going to look for the kill. Flash out there is going to keep Long alive, but not for long enough as Imp takes him out. Amy's the next target. Now Hart's going to get doped. His ulti's run out. He's trying to get away, but there's too much power here for LGD as they start assaulting the towers.
Meanwhile, in the opposite lane, Punish
has been... He's on a mission, okay? He was like given a very...
He's on the wrong mission.
He's got a very important message from his team. He's like, please infiltrate the enemy base and try and win by split pushing. Maybe committing too hard to the idea there, but LGD, they're just going to start... They're going to keep knocking down towers here, and they do get the top inhibitor turret, break LGD's base, but Punish not on the right side of the map to take it out as LGD get another inhibitor turret. 2
free inhibs? No, they're going to have to back off.
We'll see. Playwork can get a catch. Almost got into Punish. Amy Alex going to dive in onto Imp. As PYL backs his way off. Good equalizer on top of it. The Deathmark dives as well. Ezreal is going to go down. Now Godby the next target. PYL also getting chased. Flame around the back though, trying to make a difference as Godby gets chased down. A good hook from PYL. Not enough to save his life. And Flame going nuts. Gets Amy in the backside. Still going through. Can he go? Massive Flame trying to do it. Can't quite get it done. And Unlimited Potential hold on to the rest of their base.
UP have been this strong the entire time, but they haven't been fighting a 5v5. They finally get them with a fantastic engagement from Amy on the flash cast there, but too little too late. They've already had 2 of their inhib towers dropped as well as the mid inhibitor gone.
Potentially. I mean, certainly lost some things that they didn't need to lose, but they'll get a 3rd dragon here as well. UP might just pick themselves back up in time to try and take the rest of this mid-game and take over the game, but it's getting a little tricky here. There's lots of open base structures. There's super minions streaming into one half of the map. The 3rd dragon does go to Unlimited Potential, but it's been messy, to say the least.
That's one way to put it.
I mean, we talked about UP's mid-game in game number 1. This one's unfortunately not looked like an improvement.
Yeah, this one slipped very quickly out of control. We will see where LGD go from here. The thing that I wanted to point back to is curious about Imp's build and where it was going to go. I thought it was going to be a purple build as well, so looking for that double lifesteal the Bork into the blade, or excuse me, into the Bloodthirster, especially against someone like Zed, because that shield will give him a little bit more protection against the assassin. But deciding instead to go for straight damage on the Trinity.
Diving in now as well. Good ult from Amy. Start things off. Punish too low. Imp will survive there. Scatch now caught out as well. dollars. Godby finds the kill there under Corky. Long locked up by the Rune Prism. Means Flame's going to get that kill. Godby looks for a charm, misses there onto Heart. Punish still low, getting chased down as TVQ's found Amy as his next target, kicks him into the wall, cuts him off from his team. Godby here as well. Amy surviving. He's quite tanky. Punish though, fighting Flame just under his tower off to the side. Does take him out. PYL trying to hook Amy and misses. Amy's still alive. Finally goes down. And a 3-1 team fight win for LGD.
And this is the difference between their gold disparity right now. The fact that LGD got to back and spend all of that free gold that they had gotten about just destroying UP's base, taking so many free structures. So that's why they finally are able to turn these fights around.
And UP's inhibitors come back up as well, so they'll get a slight reprieve from the LGD pressure, but they find themselves 4,000 gold behind with Rise getting bigger and bigger. Flame is actually going for the build we saw Akon do in the last game, despite having a few more resources here in this one. So I guess it's Flame's fourth item that's going to interest me, because he's going for GA third, just like Akon.
Yep, cost efficiency.
Yep.
Obviously, Rise is kind of like a superficial tank with how his kit works, having that shield and be able to proc it multiple times with his passive as well as with his ultimate, and then having the GA on top of it.
Makes sense. I just wonder if Flame wants to go more damage, or again we saw a drop off from the super tanky Rise build through all the mana scaling just because Rise doesn't really work like that anymore, so probably Void stuff coming in fourth if I had to guess, but we'll see what Flame wants to do.
And a little null magic cloak there for Imp.
Yep. This build's in He doesn't want to die anymore today.
Okay, let's talk about where this game's going to go, because Baron is about to spawn in 1 minute 30 seconds. Obviously, UP cannot afford another mistake, otherwise their base will surely be crippled. That said, LGD, they were looking for their itemization power spikes, and we talked about the window of opportunity and where UP really had a chance to win this game, and it is firmly closed at this point. That said, they still have a win condition in the fact that they have 3 dragons versus 0 for LGD, so a Baron steal can afford them maybe a chance at that 5th dragon, and we could see another repeat of last game. That's what I'm going to put their chances on, either a big pick or an objective victory.
It's thin, I think, for UP, but not impossible here as Baron is coming back up in 50 seconds. LGD, though, continuing to mount pressure. Ludens has been completed by Godby, and Imp is not quite there yet, ready with the Trinity Force going, I assume, for a QSS before, but LGD start things off on the right foot. They're going to pressure down mid and try and at least damage some of these inhibitors and force UP to fight.
Punished is finally approaching the 5v5 though. Did manage to back as opposed to trying to trade inhib for inhib.
Oh, Hunt goes in. Massive 4-man Pulverize starts it off. But Godby's going to dodge around. Sketch gets kicked in by TVQ, but he'll Valkyrie out of the way. Godby trying to dive his way in. Amy taking up a lot of damage. TVQ gets flipped back into the team, but Imp's doing too much damage. Sketch gets caught by PYL with a massive hook. And LGD 3 kills. That might just be game.
Their AoE damage is just so massive they had to leave. You saw Flame just walked up with a perfect flank right there, got into the backline. Of course, Sketch getting kicked forward, but there is nothing UP can do.
Locked up as well. He's going to go down. Punish will be the last one to fall. He tries to get out his flash and shutters his way to safety. But LGD more interested in closing out the game. It did die, so it's a bit trickier for them to take out. The structures might have to settle with the bot inhib instead.
Especially because a big pressure point is being built onto the top side on top of the their open inhibitor. They're sure going to take this back, reset for Dragon. UP could look for a Desperation Baron, however.
I mean, they might. If they're going to go, they have to go
right now.
Right, literally right now, as Godby gets caught out by Harp, but manages to take the lantern to safety. Punish, no ulti, but looking forward aggressively. Thought he popped a Ghost Blade there, but it was just a right to story move speed there.
They're going to chase him back.
They're still chasing, at least going to deny some backs here and maybe try and get themselves on top of the Baron. LGD do have to respond to the top wave, but Imp is respawned. He's off there to take care of it.
Trying to chase him back so they can get as much damage as possible on that inhibitor. Like you said, Imp back up and alive, ready to play for it. But here we go. Here's the Desperation Baron.
Just like he called it, Frosco and UP know they have to take the Baron to have a chance. Flame! Oh, he's teleporting into the backside.
Oh,
he's trying to backdoor on Rise of all champions. What is this game? UP will get the Baron. Godby goes in to deny more backs. But Flame, he's trying to close the game out. The rest of LGD here, UP have to get away, and Flame, he almost gets a tower. LGD going to take care of the rest of the people in the Baron pit. Punish will go down. LGD, oh my god, Punish, outplay there, gets with the shadow, gets the kill and gets away. Gets a double actually as Flame's forced out of the base. TVQ tagged in, that will be a kill and a shutdown. And Flame, he couldn't finish it.
Wow. Okay, so Flame commits to the top side. He does manage to take one Nexus Tower. That said, Sketch with the empowered Baron back is able to get there in time to save the second one. Meanwhile, Punish makes the huge outplay, gets the double kill, and while all of this is happening around the Baron pit, LGD having to respond to the Desperation Baron, they lose their top inhibitor.
Oh, wow.
That was insane.
That is a lot lost here, actually. This game, already pretty crazy, has gone firmly in that same direction here as Flame.
But we talked about UP, their only win condition right now is off of objectives. They had to secure the Baron, so it could open up a window opportunity for them to look at the 5th Dragon.
Well, they're going to look at 4th Dragon right now. Amy is there with the Smite. LGD are collapsing, but I don't know if they'll be here in time. Headbutt away from Hart, going to keep Flame away. Hart does not have his ultimate available, by the way. That's just a bit of a visual bug.
Oh, he missmited.
They don't get it, Amy. Can't get in there. He's used his smite already. That will give LGD the Dragon Heart. He's maybe going to try and finish it off, but no one cares. LGD get a smite the Dragon and take the kills. 3 for 0 and Punished and Scatch the last 2 standing.
I don't think that there's any way UP can come back from this. They knew their win condition was around those objectives. They commit too hard. Amy fumbles the smite. It was really only on the 4th Dragon, but really unfortunate for UP as LGD could easily march and walk this one out.
I said this last time, Prosecutor.
What?
I don't think you should curse games like this. You're seeing what's already happened in this game. Things could happen here. Punish still going to get caught out. Does use
that
the
happened.
onto Godby. Now gets kicked away. Will die down to Imp. Looks like Scat's going to go down to Flame as well. GA will proc, but he gets the kill over to Godby. And Amy not able to protect it. The Nexus will go down. Froskurin's right this time, but maybe not next time. So you do have LGD splitting the series with unlimited potential.
I believe in stats. Stats never failed me. There is a 0% win rate on that Rumble, and it will stay that way as LGD manhandle UP around the map.
Look at Flame, so happy to have a win.
Aww.
On Rise, didn't look at it, actually. Just like normal Flame, business as usual. Look, there is, I believe that's Amy.
Yeah.
Looking a little sheepish there after that smite. TBQ's like, yeah, whatever. I had that. I was ready. First Dragon, no problem.
UP always looks so disappointed after losses. It's really heartbreaking. Punish crying yesterday, and now Amy, of course, looking very upset.
I mean, they're a good team, like we talked about. It must be frustrating to lose, but taking a strong game off LGD is not bad at all. As Flame looks much happier now that he's shaking hands with the enemy team. He's like, yeah, I got to play Rise. Finally carried a game. We did it, team.
Heart tugging Imp around a little bit right there. Obviously, the Samsung players. Of course, blue versus white, so.
Yeah, classically a matchup. At least very familiar with each other from previous organizations. But a win there for LGD gives us another split. We had a full day of 1-1 splits yesterday. I don't